Bowers Wilkins, I'm not afraid of this word, a legendary and perhaps the most famous company in the audio industry in the world. Their top-line 800 is regarded by many audiophiles as the benchmark of quality and excellence. By the way, I'm among them, although to be honest, there are quite a few people who do not accept speakers of this brand, but they simply do not know how to cook it. You have an advanced AC. Since 1979, a company on the south coast of England has been perfecting the 8th series of this highly technological product. Over 42 years ago, the world witnessed an absolute bestseller and an unparalleled acoustic system from Bowers Wilkins, known as the 801. In 1998, the second generation was released, which also set a new standard of quality and sound, which is amazing. But in 2005, the familiar to us by design line 800D2 appeared. The appearance and quality of audio presentations still excite the ears and minds of people who love high-quality sound. In 2015, English engineers introduced to the world the most revolutionary lineup in the D3 series, in which materials and developments such as continuum and aerofoil were used for the first time. Bowers took a considerable amount of time to develop their own diffuser materials, which, according to them, were significantly superior to the renowned Kevlar and Rohotcell. Also, a bass section with matrix ribs. Wachowski siblings come to mind with their new film, which I am really looking forward to, by the way. The low-frequency department was disconnected from the high-frequency department, with the milled aluminum turbine head responsible, which could be taken and rolled in different directions easily. With the new lineup, for some reason it doesn't work. It's lucky the head didn't detach from the main body, because if it fell, it could harm people due to its weight. The diamond twitter in D3 has also been enhanced and completely modeled on the computer. Closed with a protective mesh that will prevent children from accessing this fragile and expensive item. In the 800, 802 and 803 series D3 columns, an aluminum spine was initially used on the back. In general, friends, it is clear that when one of the largest serious companies in the audio industry with a huge budget, access to the latest technologies and bright minds polishes the same line for decades, the result should be corresponding, and in the D3 line it was already at its best. Trust me, as I resided with the prior columns for a sufficient duration of time. However, progress does not remain stagnant, and right before your eyes, behold. Bowers Wilkins 802D4, not afraid of this word, most popular universal model, gives almost maximum, ready to settle comfortably in rooms from 25 to 50 SQM. Let's go through what these Englishmen have been doing since 2015, what they have invested a great amount of time, effort and money in. Progress in matrix system and bass section with continuum diffuser, diamond tweeter and continuum diffuser. She became even more inflexible, which enabled her to suppress nearly all resonances. The structure of the body has also been altered and given the name reverse wrap. The joints in the housing are currently positioned at the rear, at the most distant point from the mechanical energy produced by the drivers. D4 housings are made of beech sheets. A multitude of layers are bonded together with a special composition. Layer of wood, then a special composition, which by the way is kept secret, then again a tree and so on until the desired quantity is reached, after which all this goodness goes into a special press, into the oven, and as a result we get a maximum hard case, which is not made entirely of composites and metal, like in the famous Magica new line. This suggests that the sound will be theoretically more lively and the bass will be more natural. Imagine, just a single machine per column carries a price tag of over $1 million. I agree, these are valuable investments in technology. The black color is very deep and rich. I remember well how the third line looked, but this paint has become even better and more expressive. Machines perform the majority of the grinding work. The remaining 10% is done by specially trained individuals. Maybe he is the only individual who, with his sharp eye, achieves perfection in terms of appearance. By the way, black color has several layers of paint more than white. You probably noticed that black lacquer usually costs more from other manufacturers than veneer. Bowers Wilkins has a single price for all finishes. My choice is definitely a black column. Yes, it's very stylish, you can see micro scratches on it, but if you handle it carefully, love, cherish and nurture it, the appearance will cover all the flaws. Remember the proverb? Fish, birds and maidens are caught with bare hands. So now all workers at the Bowers and Wilkins factory in England work with the 8 series without gloves. Personnel are strictly forbidden from wearing rings and similar jewelry. You can only make contact with the new 800 using bare hands. Oh, this flying aluminum plate covered with Connolly leather, which is genuine.
Extra class, what can I say, buddies?
When I first saw the presentation of the new line, I was a bit disappointed with this solution. In the picture, it seemed to me that the leather was excessive, somewhat foreign, but when I look at this solution, in fact, by the way, the leather is made not only for the beauty of the designer, probably, they used a metal sheet, making the case stiffer and dampening vibrations. So, as I touch her, inhaling the pleasant scent of her skin, examining this solution as a whole, I gain a deeper understanding and I have transformed into a more beautiful and stylish version of myself. The turbine head has also been modified. Bionic suspension dynamics have been implemented. Now, in plain language, it is important to note that there is no fabric centering washer as such present here. Instead, a minimalist suspension made of a new material. Similar in appearance to a spider, it effectively eliminates the unwanted air pressure that a regular fabric washer can generate, thus preventing the addition of distortions to the mid-range. With this technical solution, by the way, it is unclear why no one thought of it before. In theory, unprecedented transparency and realism of sound appear in the range of mid-frequencies. Anticipating, I will mention that the uninteresting 4th episode sounds even cleaner and more neutral. A few words about the crossover. Even in the 805 shelves, they are attached to the rear aluminum radiator. 803D4 has Moondorf MKP Evo capacitors. 802D4 has a more complex crossover, which is duplicated by MKP Evo, and 801D4 already has MKP Supreme Silver Gold on board. My favorite part is the speaker in the Etchi, developed for Bowers Wilkins, the oldest international corporation, the beer's friends. Her motto is Diamonds Forever, because this company knows everything about diamonds for sure, as it has been mining, processing and selling natural diamonds since 1888, as well as producing synthetic diamonds for our heroes and not only for them. The speaker tube has been extended by an additional 5 centimeters, resulting in increased openness and clarity, particularly at high frequencies. Grills. This decision gives me an ambiguous impression. Firstly, there are now 3 per column, instead of 2 in the previous lineup, which made installation and removal more difficult. But that's not the scariest part. Removing mesh from tweeter is easy, but it's very hard to remove it from woofer. And if you are not Wolverine or Freddy Krueger, then it is highly probable that you will not be able to differentiate defense from dynamics right away. Personally, I have such a problem to such an extent that I simply left the grills on the columns and do not take them off. Positive news that they are metallic, milled and not made of plastic like the previous model. Appear more complete and stylish. The abbreviation Bowers & Wilkins moved from the bottom of AS to the top, which by the way is an improvement, because you could only read this inscription on the old line. Good vision, or fall into the floor. The platform has also been redesigned. She is wider. Take this into account when replacing with a new lineup. Another piece of news is that I had 2 additional legs in my hand while unpacking and couldn't figure out what they were for or where they belonged. So it turns out that these details are screwed into the back on the sides, providing an even tighter fit to the floor and enhancing stability in the process. Now you definitely will not knock them down, and if you attempt to hug, kiss or dance with them, in theory, these supports will prevent them from falling to the floor surface. Friends, you expected a rating, but there won't be one. In the next video, we'll review the evaluations of these columns as I've listened to them for 2 weeks. I will inform you of all the strengths and weaknesses, and together we will provide a summary of their quality. And I believe we will examine the interior prior to the evaluation and observe how the Englishmen constructed it with their bare hands. Stay tuned, subscribe to our channel. Thank you, friends.